Good evening. Hello, YouTube world out there. It's the Tin Man, starting out alive. And so if anybody's just coming in from the non-live part of it, then, hey Brown, how's it going? Then continue to watch, fast forward to see if there's any subjects that come up that are interesting or promising for your research into the Bigfoot phenomenon that so many of us are on, understanding, getting our different things all about it. You're doing good. How am I? I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. I'm just taking it easy right now, you know, it's part of my program, but by the end of this month, I think I'll be coming out with some, I'm hoping to really come out with some really good stuff. I forgot to check and look at what my magic number was, if I actually made 2,000 here before this. Yeah, easy does it. Yeah, there's no rush anymore, really. Not for me. I think once you get, once you got to a certain level, then you started realizing probably, okay, I know this much. You know, once you kind of know. Hello, Grace, how are you? Once you get to a certain spot, then you go, wow, I know this much. Then it can either settle in comfortable or uncomfortable, if you ask me. And I went through both of those periods, so. Who do we got there? Venom, hey, how's it going? You did make 2,000. Oh, right on. Right on, brother. Thanks for the news. Tin Man makes 2,000. Finally. I'm not complaining, but I'm saying finally because I've been impatient for anybody who's been around. But that's cool. 2,000's kind of cool. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, between 1,000 to 10,000 keeps you in a certain category, but once, or maybe I'm mixing up that with the views. I think the views, when you get to 1 million to 10 million, supposedly you're in a certain category for that package of views. And when it comes to subscribers, I can't remember how you're impacted. Maybe at every 1,000 increment. I'm not too sure. But what happens is, there's that thing they call it. I can't remember what they call it, but it reads all the wavelengths of people enjoying your show, supposedly, and all that kind of stuff. Well, I would imagine that each one of those ringings of a bigger number are going to change it up a bit. Get her done, yeah, for sure. Hit 2K, thank you very much. So yeah, this was a little bit of a party for that. And Brown is going to type us a story now. Hey, Brown. He's probably a pretty fast typer, I can imagine. What do you guys think about the view out there? Pretty nice, eh? Here, let me hit the windshield wiper there again. I was planning to go to the picnic table that's just right up behind the building on my left here, and guess what? These dark clouds happen to just kind of come over me. It was brighter like what you're looking into there, right above us, when just 5 minutes before I started up this, I think, the YouTube. So, is what it is. So in the car I set my mobile studio. So last night I was doing a freaky walk. And it's right by my Rams clan. And basically what it is, it's a great big ravine. You like the view? Right on. Nice fresh rain and air, yeah, for sure. I'm enjoying it. I got my door open here. I'm enjoying it for sure. As long as I can keep from getting too cold, then I enjoy it very much. But, so I was over at the Ram Clan there, and basically, so it's this big ravine. And what's gone on in this ravine that drops quick, and it's pretty sharp, is there's a man-made road that went through it, and all we did was put a couple of culverts in or whatever, filled it all up with dirt, and in all reality, how much stuff we probably piled in there was probably, I don't know, 1,000 dump truck loads or something like that. Like, there's a lot. It's quite the feat, and it's not a bridge. So anyways, what that makes it, and then there's no lighting there. And then just up at the crest of the hill there is a funeral. Not a funeral, a funeral home with an actual gravesite, and it's only got one light that marks the place. And yeah, I sleep around in that neighborhood quite often to kind of put my presentation there, because I've got them on film from being in there and stuff. That's how I've gone and named them the Ram Clan, if you happen to know that story at all. Anyway, so last night, the water's flowing pretty good through there. So when it comes to noise, it's really interesting, because then what you do, you know, like I've said to you guys before, is just sit there. Just really think, especially when there's nothing around to obstruct it much, like trains or cars. But even when they do come around, really concentrate on all the noise. Everything in the area would make a noise. Or how it noise kind of orchestrates itself to your hearing in a way. So if a car goes by, listen to how it kind of blows the air at the same time as its tires are whizzing, as its horn honks, whatever's going on. And if you do that, then you get to separate those things out, why they go by. But when a car legitimately goes by, you have a lot of information telling you, oh, legitimately went by. So if you're sitting there and you're listening to the creek, you actually start to realize the creek isn't constantly moving around. You know, it's like, you know, if somebody was playing in it or something, you know, when you kind of are sweeping up your driveway, unless you get flows of water coming at it to change even the direction of the sand when you're spraying down your driveway, you know, you can kind of see what I mean. There's work there. So it's the same thing when you're listening. So if you're listening to the creek, and once in a blue moon maybe you hear, like you believe you're hearing a rock shift kind of noise, then that's cool. But still just listen for different noises, because I can imagine some rock shifting to some extent, especially if the water's just created a good flow again over the last couple of days, can rock the odd rock. And you know, the water can do certain things where you all of a sudden a rock just releases and goes clunk, like that sort of thing, right? But I tell you, when you hear those noises, I focus right in to try to figure out if it's actually them throwing out one of their little noises because I suspect they also know that noise very well. But it's not the sound of a rock outside water. So it's more the sound of rock within water is that sound. So that's one of the ones when you're around water I happen to notice quite often. I think it might be just the creek itself that can throw the odd one, like I'm saying, and I think these guys might utilize that one quite often. And I think most of the time when they do noise things for me and stuff, and certain little squeaks and chirps and different things like this, I really think, thanks a lot for the thumbs up there, guys, on the 2000 party night. I really think that they're just constantly probably toying with us so much. It's incredible. Not are they always, they're also redirecting us off of paths and stuff in certain, like if you're deciding, I'm going to go down this way, that's maybe where one of the buddies is hiding down there, so they might be able to do certain vibrational kind of noise levels that make you decide, no, I'm not going to follow that trail. I'm going to go off this way. This is the feeling that I get, and I'm not sure if that sums it up the exact way that a lot of other people feel about it. But I believe there's probably ways that they can do a certain amount of redirecting. And having said that, that was in relation to something there. How's everybody doing out there? Say hello. Got the big 2000 night tonight. Thank you very much for subs and any new subs and all that kind of stuff that's coming around and starting to lend an ear to my style of research. My style of research is I explain a lot of information that I come across in the woods that I believe is being put on by these creatures. And it's basically how I find it so easily, in some respects. I'll give you the biggest hint that I can give you is the forest tells us stories. And so if you go back in history books and so on and so forth, you can see the language of the story in older books and stuff compared to maybe how you're looking out your window. It's best if you can actually do it live, study the forest, not so much on other people's videos and stuff. Yes, it does, doesn't it? And I hear you, Grace. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, so what Grace is saying is the language, or the forest really has a language on its own. We're going to enjoy a little hail here, guys. I hope you can hear me all right. At this tone, even with this hail picking up, can you hear me? Whoops. Hopefully you can. Beautiful. So basically, Grace, one of the things that I say about the forest having such its own language is if you're a long-time forest person, you know, somebody who's been out there playing your whole life, and now you might be looking and you realize there's something about the forest. It just looks different. In some cases, it can look really unhealthy. And then in some cases, it's unbelievable full of life, it seems. It seems like it's, you know, whatever. I'm sure there's the in-between or whatever, but I'm talking about in the areas where it bounces out probably and hits you. Those are the ones that I'm referring to, those in particular impact. So think about those ones. And so, in all reality, what I am kind of proclaiming that I've kind of picked up on was, I ended up going into the forest and coming into an area that wasn't changed very much. Got to go along with some of the changing of it. Really got to come to understand truly, because I spent so much time in the forest, truly what animals would be doing when a bear's climbing under there and he's going over there, or what deer would be doing. Listen to that hail, eh? Oh, it's coming more. Uh-oh. I gotta throw in earplugs. I'm not gonna like this. Well, enjoy the storm if you want, you guys. I'm just going to hold off for a minute on my trying to compete in volume with it. If you stick around, Grace, I'll chat it out a little bit. But basically what I'm saying is I really picked up on the forest having its very own undisturbed language in a lot of ways. Then I brought my own education of life. I've had a lot of different animals. In my own care, I've had well over 1,000 animals in my own personal care, not where I had staff taking care of them. In my life where I was taking care of them. I'm kind of tuning my ears out a little bit here with the earplugs. Yeah, I hear ya. But I was going to say I'm just going to say so basically, one of the things I started realizing was the forest has an unbelievable amount of faces that it leaves us, just like clouds. You know, so I believe in many, many cases when we're hearing from people that don't give me enough, or say I'm even talking to the person, but they're not, even in person, they're not giving me enough reliable information from where I've stood with when it comes to the Bigfoot and Sasquatch. And they're talking about looking into a forest and stuff. If they don't give me enough reliable information, but they're talking about a face and stuff, I already know the forest is giving non-practical people they're seeing a lot of those fake foot faces is basically what I'm saying and stuff. And so I really come to have a relationship understanding those fake faces. And then I have my real experiences that I've done with interactions with these guys, these beings, different kinds of beings, or maybe from the same species or something. That's all to be figured out from me. And for my case, anyways, I ended up realizing that's the biggest thing. I just realized that these guys interact with the forest a lot more than just making a structure. I'm sure a lot of people are realizing that one, let's just call it a, I don't know, let's call it a 9-degree break or something like that, right? Of the trees, but it still stays attached. If we really stopped and looked at just the few branches that we're looking across here, there's probably dozens in some of those trees, right, just looking across from us. Those things in the last months in my area, in the last year that I have done it, I kid you, you know, so you guys know what I'm talking about, kind of that elbow break, but it's still attached. They've done literally just on roadways that I've kind of looked at, it's going to be for sure in the hundreds of thousands of those style of breaks. Now, lots of guys know out there, like a Brown and stuff, he knows that there's those breaks. He knows they have something to do with Sasquatch and stuff. I don't know what you look at in your area for how big your numbers seem or anything like that. But I know if you were sitting beside me, Brown, and we're driving around and you're looking at all these different breaks, just on our roadside stuff, you would end up having an impact of gargantuan amounts. You would end up realizing, okay, holy cow, whatever I've been figuring out, I got to start figuring out a way different now to just try to comprehend the numbers. I'm not saying you would change your style of research or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I believe if you came here and looked and with my style maybe, but minimally in this area, but I think your areas are going to be the same thing. I think that we're all in major increase right now on these guys coming in the out, right? So, but how did I get run off there? But yeah, so there's tons of just legitimate signs that we all know, okay? I happen to believe I know a whole bunch of more and have figured out a whole bunch more. A lot of people are really starting to clue into it. If you even listen to, what's his name there, Colorado the other day when I was on one of his videos there, he pointed out that big kind of pile of rocks, if anybody is familiar with it. And he said, I don't know about those rocks, but there's something about those rocks. There's something about the rocks and those holes and stuff like that. And if you guys go onto my videos, you'll see where I've been talking about how I have been feeling about a lot of those rocks situations that he's even pointing out there. And what he's probably not truly picking up on is he's also noticing they've been moved. So he's not using picture memory to help his memory or anything yet with those kind of things. But that's what I was observing when he was seeing it, as he was starting to notice more holes are starting to appear in those kind of situations because of the amount of rock moving that they do. And then that's why I'm pointing out on our dike systems and stuff like that. And I don't know if it's just about quick hides. You know, a lot of times I think it's about quick hides, but I also know it's about small things. It's not about 7-foot guys. And yeah. Hello. Who's here, Venom? AC, how's it going? We were just having a party, and then I started a walk on a story there yesterday. I posted 2 new videos. Cool, mine. I'll check them out. From last year. Okay. When my mom and... So this is Venom saying that... Venom Bigfoot is saying that he put up 2 videos when his mom and dad first bought the property up in Wisconsin. You have to look at it, but those 90-degree breaks are right by the cabin. Yeah, I hear you. Okay. I hear you. And I kid you not, man, the amount that are around here, because we had last year, I don't know if you remember videos from me last year. Hey, Mark, how's it going, brother? But we had some ice storm go on. I heavily talked about all that stuff. This year, another ice storm, but I was over in Victoria at that time when it all went on. And it was worse than last year, I'll give you that much. But I kid you not, it was just hilarious when I came back, because I came back when they were partially starting to clean it up, and it hadn't been fully cleaned up, but all the snow was gone in this area, and all the ice was gone, and stuff like that. But, you know, I could see patterns. I could see patterns where, okay, they did that certain amount of work on those trees. I can remember reflecting on those trees last year and looking at them. And then now I'm looking at them this year, and I can see how now they worked more on those ones, and they left those ones more for whatever reason. But not to say that that would happen in every case. Some places where they demolished, I felt they demolished the forest last year, they came back and they did it again. Hence the property right at our city hall. And I've always said that too, because I've noticed that city halls, even schools, parks, police stations, especially the important places like the police stations and the city halls and stuff like that. That's where, you know, look for the heaviest thickness of trees around those places. And you're going to be looking where probably for sure some scouts are hanging out. They might not come there. You know, like groups of them might not come there in daily things, or maybe bi-weekly, or who knows, whatever. They have their farming practices, okay? Anyways, but they will, I believe, have scouts there. Anyways, just kind of keeping an eye on what's always going on. And whatever they kind of think is going on, they somehow send a message. And then they send a message. And so if, you know, a lot of people have mentioned how they got this confusion sometimes when they've been around them and such like that, right? Well, if they can throw out these lower vocalizations and stuff that just kind of irritate our hearing, but we don't realize it, and we get kind of veered off and such like that. If it's that spooky weird, if that really does ring something truthful, then why can't they be yelling across the river? You know? I know lots of times I hear them talking that dog stuff. But when they're, you know, where I'm claiming, even, and other people will claim and stuff, where they, you know, they're waiting a place and they swear it's just kind of a couple of dogs going back, or them mimicking a couple of dogs and stuff. So here I am almost saying two different things. That's how weird this really is. It's because why would those ones, and we, you know, there's some of us that are so strong in believing that was those guys of some sort, and here they're pretending to be coyotes or whatever. So in other words, they're on purposely interacting with us. They must be, if they're doing that. Or maybe a local farm dog, they're just trying to throw out yelping to bug him or something. Based on, you know, it would be completely different than this other theory that I'm saying, that maybe they have that ability to speak under our hearing ability. That's what, help me out here, but Bigfoot anthropologist, B.A. Go on there, and that's what he's being very helpful in realizing, that there's a lot of noises that we don't pick up. A lot of noises. So, yeah, interesting. So we got lots of viewers. We got lots of thumbs about to start just racking that board. Bigfoot Memphis, hey brother? Oh, not too much, Mark. What are you up to? Just having that 2000 party. I'm going to take out my earplugs because that storm's over, and hopefully I wasn't yelling at you guys. Had a little bit of a little hailstorm. That was kind of fun for whoever was here, hopefully. Sup, dwarf? Yeah, you like that, Grace? Could they be communicating telepathically to each other for the communication? You know, very well. You know, what is anthropologist there, Rick? What is he kind of talking? He talks like in infrared. He kind of talks, I think, in that infrared kind of stuff when he's talking about it. He would be the best guy to really bring up that conversation. That guy. Well, yeah, they're huge mimickers, eh? You picked up on that, Grace? Huge mimickers, but they're also on the telepathical level, you know, is kind of just mind to, like a mind to a mind in a way, right? You just got in, Mark? Yeah. Just got in from work probably, eh? You're already on the YouTube doing your rounds. Yeah, they mimic a lot. Everything. I hear you. They do. And then, sometimes when it's not a mimic, it's kind of, I don't know. As long as you're not walking around too much at night, like I'm talking about 10 hours every night kind of thing. Because you imagine the amount of noise that you would be coming across from, say, like 10 o'clock at night until 6 o'clock in the morning or something like that, out in the dark of night. Imagine doing that night after night now that you know kind of what goes on. Birds, they got down pat, yeah. Yeah, I hear you. So thanks for coming to party, guys. Nice for you to stop in. Yeah, I was looking forward to a little bit nicer weather here because I'm antsy to do a little bit of trail stuff, but basically what I've been doing, like I was saying over at my Rams Club there, is I'm trying this night little stuff where I've been around there a few nights, spending my nights and stuff and walking around them at night, staying up on my path, on the paved path. Totally just with them, though, because there is not a house that any of us with the hardest throw could throw a baseball into the person's yard. There's nobody that close. Let's put it minimally like that, right? And the ones that are, one's way up on a bank. You don't even get to see the house. The other one's way up on a bank. And then, yeah, up around the corner. And then the other way is a graveyard. So it's just a huge spot of, yeah, I think they're going to probably be a pretty big crew in there. When I've been driving out there, I've been looking, and because I've been driving around different roads, and then all of a sudden when you're on a road, if you don't get to do the helicopter view, right, then you got to imagine the helicopter view. So I did that really well today. And when I did that, I just realized, holy shit, you guys, because they're all connected into what goes into our Catholic, where they used to own this mountain, and they turned half of it into a park, and they still own most of the mountain or whatever. And then on the other half of the mountain, I ended up finding out there's a huge farm there, just a farm. And then on that farm, they had major devastation in this really kind of, I'm going to try to get their pile of wood on video, you guys. I kid you not, the pile of wood when I drove past that farm today is probably the size, because it was laying on its side like that, might be the size of, just looking at a dump truck, an actual dump truck, the size of a dump truck and bigger is that how big their pile is. And I believe it's from just this cleanup they're doing. And and it was not a harsh storm. It was ridiculously light, really, when it comes down to it. Hello, Priscilla, how's it going? Move not rocks. What are you saying here? Okay, let's see. Only that distinguished. Okay, do you see a lot of baby foots? I believe, I can't say that I see them, but I believe that so many times that when I'm looking out there, that they might be the bigger amount of darkness and blackness, because around here I can connect really well with the black ones. The gray ones and stuff they're taking work, but I'm still working on, like, I haven't given up on figuring out how to see these guys better, you guys. So just kind of realize that, like, it's constant. We're all learning here. Anyways, but the black ones, I believe I see more that represent small ones than I see that represent black ones. There's a good way of saying it. The only time I can distinguish between the chirps is when they give out the long whistles, because you can hear them breathe in their chest. Really, eh? Cool. Grace, I don't know why you got retracted, so you know, but it says retracted messages there. Sometimes I think YouTube itself, if you send too many messages in a row, it does. I'm not really sure, you know. Maybe there's something I could turn on or something. I'm not too sure, but what do you think the Bigfoot are doing with the trees? I think they're just, it's not like they're trying to destroy them. They want them. They're changing cycles. Up here's one of the biggest things that I probably say that I believe I'm connecting into in this area is I see them trying to turn on more of a rainforest system. That's what I believe I notice a lot here. And they like leaving trees because they work really well of it. Because they suck up water fast. They produce branches fast. You keep breaking the branches off. The way that they've done this, they've kind of tripled the amount of leaves in the last few years here, I believe. And what does that do? It gives you a better base, all those leaves. And then if you look, when I came home this time with this freeze, you can see how the wood's even throwing some places in the... Yeah, you guys know that. But anyway, so tons of branches down. And what happens to them? Nobody can clean them up and stuff. So they just, in our yards and this kind of stuff, sure. But in many forests, a lot of parks, you can just end up realizing they're just trying to expand that little patch of land. And they'll just creep onto the grass a little bit. And then when the guy cuts the lawn, he kind of does a swale around there. And then next time, they creep a little more. So watch for that kind of stuff. But here we were talking about... a major amount of leaves have been turned on, major amount of branch, and it really seems to me like they're redoing our bases in a lot of the spots. Like they want our ground to be different, holding moisture, I believe. And then when they have a lot of moisture at the ground around here, because obviously, like for right now, it rains a lot. And now, so if we can have a type of ground that holds that really well, then we plume in all these leaves. And then we do have our sun stuff comes out there. Well, the sun that gets to hit the normal water out on the lakes and gets to hit it on the parking lots and all that kind of stuff has its certain evaporation cycle that it does. But all this extra hiding that they're doing and building the canopies thicker with the leaves, hiding the water now that's down there, not necessarily hiding it, but it's a different, you guys are all realizing that. It's a different evaporation process and such that's going on. Another thing about it that I would say that is just a concern that we need to understand is part of this growth thing that to make the trees react like that, I don't know the proper terminology. I always refer to it as kind of a farmer's terminology or pruner's terminology, but it's the sucker system. And the problem that I just want to know about the sucker system, if it's a problem or not, is, well, they get this thing going. So all the trees are just going, whoosh, they grow very fast. They suck in a lot of water. That's part of the suckers. And that sucker word has been around for decades and probably maybe even centuries that they used on the trees, that word or similar description. Anyway, so it sucks up all this extra whatever and it gets really big. And it's not like a typical tree. The typical tree should have only grown this fast, but the sucker system grew this fast. And how they a lot of times get the sucker system, and really, I'll tell you this, you can, if you really hone into this is when you really start to respect the sucker system. I've really started to connect more by pointing out to you guys those cord branches where you can see real branches that from, let's just call the tree I showed recently, on part of my Victoria trip right near the end. There's this tree, let's call it a 20-year-old tree. You can see the branches that grew from the core of it, had its whole life with that. Well, that's not the type of branch that they're doing. So with the type of branches that you can see, as you can tell lots of times there's a lot of belly skin on it, and there's a lot of almost like the back of a neck skin. So in other words, the branch itself and Bigfoot or whatever kind of beings are doing all this scratching of just the skin of the tree. And the skin of the tree just keeps growing more and more to hold this branch that is part of the sucker system thing that's shooting way out there. But the skin is part of the reason why Bigfoot will keep returning to some of these branches, is because they have a certain plan maybe with this branch, and they want to make sure that the skin is going to be a certain way to be able to hold the forces that are going on with that branch that he misses out on because it isn't a cord branch system. Cool? It's almost like if you stuck a pin, just like those normal household pins with the little head on it. Well, if you stuck it straight in the wall, a hard, strong wall, and made it kind of, so it's only sticking out, say, a 1/4 inch, and you pulled directly straight down as hard as you could with your sheerness of the strength, that pin is rated for about 50 pounds of sheer strength there that it's supposed to be able to hold there. That's pretty incredible. But if you took that pin now and you pulled it out, and you only stuck it in the wall a little bit, maybe even you decide to angle it up a little bit, right? And not have it straight out too much or whatever. It's going to be able to pull off very easy. It's probably going to tear part of the outside, whatever your object is that you're poking it into. It's going to tear its outside skin as it pulls off and stuff. So there's a great kind of way to kind of an illustration in a way. And I hope you guys get that. Let me know if you get those kind of little illustrations sometimes, because I do lots of little kind of illustrations, and lots of people will compliment me on certain things and stuff, but not very many people. I want people to start, if you can do this at all, and you notice in some of these things, like say you enjoyed this talk, then come back and, if you can, come back and say, hey, at 9 minutes and 52 seconds, that was pretty cool, Tinman. And the other people will see that, and they'll want to know what you think was pretty cool. Or else, a lot of people look at my videos and they go, that's just too much time. I don't have an hour to dedicate to this guy talking on live and stuff. So I missed out live, so that's a drag, stuff like this. Hi, Tinman, what do you think of the Bigfoot are doing in the trees? They're probably making love. They're eating in there. They like the young growth and in the evergreens, I think, those little seeds, like the cedars. Colorado Bigfoot. Come across Bigfoot wood piles. Couple of them pretty crazy how they stack it. Yeah. He comes across like he's walking nothing but in the land of Bigfoot for sure. He shows how huge it is. I would like to see, I don't know, has he ever done this on his channel? Where he kind of gives an overview, say it's kind of a map view, and kind of, X off or circle the areas that he's walked. I'd like to kind of see, how he does it. Is he always in the same way? Is he going different mountains? Has he gone over a mountain, down a valley, and up another mountain? You know what I mean? Maybe you could even tell me that. What is the closest you've been to a Bigfoot? Great. Thank you. You're welcome. Priscilla is saying she loves my videos. Thank you very much. What is the closest? Well, for sure, watch my video that's called First Face to Face, or guaranteed or 100% your money back, or some silly thing like this. But anyways, First Face to Face, and you'll get an idea. And that guy was that family of them, that group of them, clan maybe, 30 feet maybe, less than 30 feet, I think. I should try measuring that one time, but I think probably 25, 30 feet they were away. I wouldn't doubt it if I was looking at a video just of the big baboon-headed one. And I almost think there might have been some small ones, because I'm standing right in front of a great big log that probably came up to my waist height or something like that. So I think there might have been some, just kind of one way that I was sweeping the camera around. I ended up seeing some kind of color and shape that kind of gave me the feeling that, wow, they might have been just like on the other side of the log, like right there, when I was only projecting my thought towards the big gray-headed baboon one. So this is okay. So I'm going to try to catch up to you guys. What is the closest of your videos? Thank you. Interesting. Thank you, AC. Some of the sizes of rocks they move. Unreal, eh, Grace? Like I don't know, one over there that's, I call it about a 10,000 pound boulder, and I can see they're starting to chip away at it a bit and stuff. So I put it up a couple of times, and we want to, you can't videotape it every day, so I want to see another drastic change, hopefully, from it. It hasn't had major movement, but it's had slight shifting and stuff, so, and it's really easy for me to tell a quick shift on that 10,000 pound rock, and the reason is because in that rock quarry there, they had done some kind of blasting or whatever, so there was drilling on it, and so it has a big core drill in it, so I get to kind of use that as a reference. Priscilla from Santa Cruz, you've been to this area? Have I been to your area? I'm going to say no if you're talking to me. I'm out, what do you got? I'm out here when Bigfoot Memphis on later. I'm out here. Okay. Possibly Bigfoot building homes. I'd like to sit around with some guys or with some people and really have that discussion and try to figure out what those shelter stuff, what they, other people think. I don't really think much of the shelter stuff. Like, if they get to the point where green grows off of them, if there's stuff that helps make it more camouflaged, then that's when I tend to believe that they give me more of an answer of a shelter. Whether they sleep in there, they just use it for quick hiding because somebody's coming into the forest or whatever type of thing. I'm not really sure fully on that stuff. Some people are saying it's silly to think that they are sleeping here and there and stuff, but I swear I've seen lots of stuff that has given me the impression, and I'm going back to, that's one of my big focuses this year, you guys, this coming up here quick, is my first habitat. That's where I've had my first amazing 21 days. So I'm looking forward to another bunch of stuff there, and maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll commit a bunch of days after days, just go into that one in particular spot and see what they're willing, how they're willing to accept me now, and see what kind of information. Anybody who wants to know that, a video that I put up a week ago or something where I'm talking about the gray hand on the log, that is in my first habitat. My habitat number 1, that is right behind. It's actually expanding, but it's part of what I call the motel jungle gym. But it's actually expanding so much, it's kind of fun to almost start calling it the hotel jungle gym, because it's taking over a lot more area. It's really neat I'm getting to see them expand the marsh part of it, like I guess, well, it's not really marsh because it's so much in the forest. It's that kind of a big wet hole. What would you call that one in a forest? What is that one called? Not the marshy style, that's kind of forest side or something and going down into the plains or something like that. Not so much like that. Yes, I did it because I confused with spell check. Hey, Scout, you scared? Or just phobic? Bigfoot also really likes trident branches or logs where at the top I see what you're doing, splits off in 3 different directions. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Interesting, eh? Cool. I don't see many tridents, so I'm going to have to and so are they kind of done in the way where they're kind of like that 90-degree break then? Or are they kind of broken in a way where they're going to become a trident top of the tree, like 3 now going upwards? AC is saying, I love your videos too. Priscilla, wow. Bigfoot Forest, hey, how's it going? Evening, kids. Just lurking, are ya? Hey, Lindy. She's lurking. Priscilla is saying, I live in the mountains in Santa Cruz, right on. And Tinman, any time you want to come down there, joking. And always wonder if there any here. Yes, there is. I know. If you have trees, I will say 100%, because I personally feel that the guys that I follow around out here have a pretty huge love for trees. You know, almost like it's one of their main driving forces, is what I see, even in the rock stuff. You know, where for you that might not recognize what I'm meaning there, but I talk about them breaking rock. Another word I use lots of times is just fracking the rock. So, yes, unreal, Tinman Grace says. Hiya, Mark in Memphis. Scout them M-Beast is phobic, even on a chat line. Pathetic prejudice in the community. How's that? He's never given me a hard time or anything. Some people get pretty spooked out from this, Mark. I'm sure you gotta realize how tough of a mind you got where you've been standing sometimes and how you've handled some of this stuff. Maybe you'll say, well, we got to know where we're standing too, right? I mean, there is things about it, but, I don't know people well enough out there through this kind of line of a thing to really say much myself. Yeah, I hear ya. Do you think Bigfoot are in the desert? Yeah, I believe they are. Have you ever seen that, one where it was some kind of up in the Arctic. They were videotaping the caribou. And there was some Bigfoot, at least one that was probably grabbing another one, and then maybe more up on the hillside there that were caught on film. I saw a video earlier. Are in the desert. They are in the desert? Yeah, that's what Grace is saying, that she's seen them in a video. Anyway, and up there, you really don't see much for trees. Where these guys are and stuff, there is green life. There is life that's going on there. So there is a tree thing. Those Bigfoot up there were on some kind of a migration, maybe. They might have even been part of a migration that were trying to locate the caribou. And then all of a sudden, because if you really listen to that cameraman, he's a Canadian guy. I vouch for a lot of Canadian guys, especially after I listened to the guy. I'd vote for him pretty easily. And he explains the whole history of how, their budget. Because he's done this his whole life. He's made videos in the sea. I don't know if how high up in the air he's gone, towards space or anything like that. But he's done all kinds of land, different locations of videos and stuff. So he's really knows his stuff. That video was a low budget, so he was basically the director, the filmer, and on editing and whatever else he had to help partake in. And yeah, it was a very small crew, and there was nobody on the other side. They didn't split up the crew, blah blah blah. He explains a lot of stuff there. So at the end of the day, it was some kind of Bigfoot creature running around out there, if you want to ever see that one. So the point is, they go places. I mean, that's, the abominable snow creature, snowman, whatever our old stories are going to be, it's going to be about those guys. It's going to be the ones that really are in the freezing temperatures, that really get by in that life, compared to the ones that are in the desert that get by in that life. It's a matter of figuring out how related, does it matter to figure out how related they are or not? I don't know if it matters, that kind of stuff, but I saw the video earlier in the desert. I tend to stay in one place and have alone time with a snack. Right on. That's cool, man. Just to be, kind of building a relationship, keeping yourself safe. You know how you sit on your patio deck there and maybe a certain bird starts to come around and more often and stuff. That's all that is. It's just a relationship, right? Yeah, I seen that one. I'm not sure if it's true. Desert Squatch is another guy that lives in Nevada, and they're there. It's pretty crazy channel. He's got some amazing stuff. Bigfoot Forest is saying, check out Desert Sasquatch on Schmootube? What's Schmootube? Schmootube. Is that a new YouTube? I'm bringing a patient and praying I see one. Okay, cool. Oh, Venom Bigfoot has a new channel. Hope it works. Thank you, Bigfoot Forest. The desert video was in Southern California, I believe. AC, do you think Bigfoot adopts humans as friends or something else? Yeah, I think so. I've had them throwing rocks with me. And I think it's the same guy, girl, whatever it is. It's kind of, I feel bad, but whatever. I kind of feel bad because it's not on my budget to be able to go and visit that guy. He's not very far from here, right? But it's just not my budget, right? I can't get carried away with stuff. Anyways, so I look forward to going and seeing if he's still hanging around there, because I haven't. But the first time we threw rocks, he threw first. I kid you not. He started our interaction. I call him a he. Started our interaction, and he threw the first one. And that in particular time, we threw where, if I'm remembering the number correctly, it's somewhere around 7-8 times that whoever was throwing with me threw. Anyways, and then I've been back there a number of times, but I think it was probably about 3 or 4 more occasions, I got more throwing, and I'm at somewhere up around 15 throws in total. So the first time a lot, and then other times like that, there was just one time, a couple of one-timers and stuff. And I think on those ones, I might have started it every time. I don't recall that actually, but I know for a fact on the very first one, they started it. That's what I used to always tell my mom. They started it, Mom. Laugh my ass off, just making fun of. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was. Maybe that's a good thing to start up. So they are curious about you too. Yes. I've had one growl at me, AC. I have that video, man. I got a lot of videos you haven't seen. I'm pretty much coming right up to the number of 2,000 videos on the subject here, eh? Kat, or something like that, Kate. YouTube, she has a very close friendship with a huge family of Bigfoot, and her stories are incredible. Cool. Yeah, a lot of videos, eh? So I have one on there that's called, I don't know what I have it as a name, but it's something like, yeah, go on my favorites or my top 100s, and you'll see it on there. It's probably the only one that kind of comes up black. It's only 2 minutes or so. I have a short version of it up there. And vocalization, threat, something like that. Listen to it very carefully. Listen to it with headphones. And listen to it a number of times. Not to waste your time, but I say just to try to really wrap your head around it. I think we don't know when to always put our faith in, okay, this person's saying that there's this going on in this video, and we could watch it and watch it and watch it and never come up with anything out of it, right? But I'm telling you right now, that video of the vocalization, yeah, that's all real. And the very first noise, I write it down there. Actually, the very first noise, I was never sure if it was a growl. I wasn't sure if it was me kind of swiping my sleeve or something like that on my shoulder, you know, on my arm, or on my side or something. Until just recently, I listened to it with one of my daughters on her phone, and on her phone, it obviously came off as a growl. So within a second to a second and a half, there's a growl, very faint, and then right after that at 3 seconds to 4 seconds, there's another growl that's not so faint, but that's the thing that's kind of catching my attention. Then I walk across, I end up stopping, confronting, saying, hey, what's going on, having this dialogue with him while he's crashing the bushes and growling, and did that for over a minute and a half, and ended up realizing with the very end growl, when you can listen very well, when I end up saying, okay, I'll leave, I get you, or whatever I say at the end of that, that's when he's saying the growl that's sounds exact same almost as the one at the very beginning, but not near the volume even at the end. So, you know, the two at the very beginning, I almost get a feeling like this is the guy. He goes, like, just let's say he's throwing out a word, like, hey, get out of here. And I didn't react. So instantly, he throws it out a second time. I think that's what so in other words, like this, I don't react. Does it louder like that. And then I'm kind of like, huh? My way of describing the sound is kind of like a trumpeted, like an elephant trumpeted growl. So if you hear, like a lion growl. So if you kind of get a lion growl, like I think in roaring is what I'm saying with that lion growl, but it sounds trumpeted a bit. That's the sound I get picked up out of there. So cool. No, research is not a waste of time, but sometimes it can be on certain, you know, it never is when you're out in the field. Like whoever ends up walking out of the field and thinking they had a waste of time, that's too bad. Because if a person doing that, then they're probably just hoping to get that special video or picture or whatever. There's a lot more to look at, I say, than Bigfoot. And if you can kind of forget about Bigfoot when you're walking about there, I mean, you have your awares about you, but you don't constantly be thinking about Bigfoot, then that can be a reflection of what they might be able to pick up on. Okay, so they might realize, yeah, look at that guy. He's not looking for us. He's not looking over here all the time, and every little movement going, what was that? Yeah, you see that? It's moving over there. You see that? Oh, look at it over there. You know, try not to do that stuff so much, and let them feel like you're in their yard, but you're not, you don't have issues with them. Next thing you know, you might have one standing beside you that you're videotaping, and you're almost peeing your pants, hopefully with excitement. Right on. Thanks for the thumbs and everything, guys. The 2,000 subscriber party. What do I make of Dogman? I don't know what I make of Dogman yet. I wonder if Dogman is just part of this species that we're looking at. You know I have such true videos, such unbelievable true videos, like my baboon-headed. Soon as I swayed across him and I realized what I was looking at him there, and the picture has never lost my mind of knowing that he's real and stuff, but I get lots of people who go on that video and can't see him. So in other words, how many people go on there and see him looking different than me? The look that I'm really pulled together I think is probably one of the best looks for him, most accurate, but there's probably people out there who get the look also the same accurate as me, and then there's other people who are seeing it a little bit different because, say, the chin for them isn't standing out so much because they're losing it into that plant stuff, how we do that. So we're not all breaking through the plants and so on and so forth with our eye visual to actually see what we might be thinking we're sharing as a visual, if you follow that. With Patty, there's no doubt we all get to see the same thing. The only argument people have is whether they think she's fake or she's real. And she's only a real being for sure, 100%. Bigfoot 4, as I subbed your channel. Thank you again. Growling is kind of scary. I know growling is scary, man. Oh, I know. Ever since then, I've dreaded to hear that again. I tell you, I kid you not, brother. I used to send all my findings to John. Did you? What a great loss he is to Sasquatch research. I wept like a small child when he passed away. I hear you. I hear you. Thanks, Venom. He's made us better than you than me. Thumbs up. Thank you, Venom. Hey, right on. The Transparent Trucker. Stop by to show some love. God bless everybody. Thumbs up. And AC is saying, Dogman may be another type of Bigfoot. I hear you. Different type, just different look. You know, look at how many, like really, we kind of almost, I don't know. How many different looks of humans is there? I don't know. Depends where you go into the scale to break it down. Right? If you just take what we have, then we have a million different looks or something, don't we? Or something? I don't know. More? But if you actually break it into bone structural, you know, when they get it more into the biological levels or some level that I have no clue about, then God bless Transparent Trucker. Okay, so Dogman maybe is more aggressive. Could be. Like what... You know, AC, the cool thing about also that one that growled at me there was, that was my second time to that location. It was at a campground I went over the day before during daylight hours because I knew how, I was just coming into all this new information. It was like around my 6th week or something like that, okay? So I'd just been building and building on the information. Starting to worry me to some degree, so I went over there to check the campground, seeing that they were doing their trails and their pathways, and their gates and windows and all these different things that I had measured and figured out over the last 6 weeks. So it upset me quite a bit, realizing, holy cow, our kids camp right here, and you freaking guys have to make your trails here, and I was getting a big understanding that these trails aren't lived in. The whole cleanup areas and stuff aren't lived in. They're only being built. So I said that a number of times where it looks to me, you guys, that there's they're preparing from, you know, a bigger population. Anyways, so then the next night I was sitting around getting real antsy and stuff. So about 8 o'clock in the evening, I went back to the place. I went right by the campground, and that campground happens to come out onto the river there. So I went back right to the river there. And I'm checking around for different markings and stuff that I had been trying to figure out, right? And as I'm walking out of there, I must have spooked one. Because all this I came to, and I even had it on video and stuff. And this is when the I never thought about this until the other day when I was telling somebody about it, because imagine being the being right now, and you're kind of pissed off, and you're like, what the frig? We know this guy's kind of spying on us and stuff, right? So what he did was he did a scuff with his foot, where he skidded his heel down a bump, and like a step, and it was sandy clay stuff, and did a foot press into the sand, and it just pulled up enough water. I must have turned around and started going back out that way. She slips into the dark deeper. Couldn't clean up that mess. I see it. I actually laughed. I remember this. I laughed about it, and I go, holy cow, man, this thing's right here. So you can imagine, I can't imagine, but I wonder what kind of a buzz that thing got at that moment, right? Anyways, 45 minutes later is that growling attack stuff. So, and what you have to kind of understand that he did in that part of the game, if you really break it down, figure out what he did. You figure out what I'm doing? I'm tracking what I believed mostly are just signs of some being around. And then all of a sudden I did come across a fresh one. But that fresh one did not lead me to further tracking. All I did was continue walking, and I went way down the dike, over the bridge and stuff. And I was again trying to track, looking at different things along the bush there. And so I am attempting to track, but believing I'm tracking with old signs. To the extent of what they took it to was they did freshly track me, and then because he took it to the threatening stage there, he actually brought it from tracking to what's that word? I always bugger up on this frickin' word every time. Not attacking, not quite hunting, stalking. So he brought it to the stalking stage, like he was making it aware to me that he's after me, that he's going to get me. That's basically what he was doing. So you think about someone being able to do that. Thank goodness that he gave me the threats. Thank goodness that he let me leave, right? But he still brought it. I was already leaving. I was walking out of the park. That's another thing that concerned me is at that point, I was on the other side of the dike because I was trying to look into the cornfields to see if I could see any trailing. This is nighttime. This time now is probably about 10 o'clock at night. Nobody else around. And so I'm looking for trails of these guys because I had already come to a conclusion that they like corn because I gave them a gift of corn, and how well they clean those cobs off and skin them and all that kind of stuff. I could tell they're connoisseurs of corn. And that was part of the reason, one of the things I was checking there. And then he did the growling, so I came to that side of the dike and then continue walking out of there and get to live today. But, yeah. Stalking, yeah, exactly. Now, I wasn't close to their home, though, AC. That's the thing. Like, they've established more of that land there, but at that point there, what it was I was walking the trails kind of when they know nobody, and you know, in all reality, he's feeling like I'm stalking him, like he knows I just seen his footprint. He knew, like I didn't hide it at all. I laughed when I looked at it, like a fear laugh. I mean, it's not like I'm come out, sucker. Sorry if that was loud. Patty Packs Kids Day. Yeah, you think is that what you're saying? Do you think they will try to grab someone? I believe we need to know if they have taken people. I have too much suspicion that they may just be involved in taking people. Yeah, so... a weird thing, there's a park over in the other community here that I got around to a month where I decided, I got to go over to that big park there. So I went over there to determine whether I could see any other markings, and bang, all their markings are around. This is still in the stage where, I couldn't really fully grasp and say that I believe they probably want to touch every tree if they haven't touched every tree. Now I say that, but at that point I still wasn't there, so I was still part of trying to get information for myself. But anyway, so I see a bunch of their markings over that park. And then about a month or so later, I decided to stop by there again. 2 weeks, and I seen whatever I seen and did that. I remember doing it one day in the snow where, yeah, I just remember that. So one of the times is in the snow. Anyways, and after that time, it was about 2 weeks later or something like that. A lady went missing in there, in that park. Her and her husband kind of split up. She went this way, he went that way, and she never made it home, and there's never been a sign about her. And the police were there immediately that night. Was it 2 hours, 1 hour? Not sure, but they were immediately there that night. So, because she was pregnant, the husband got really worried, all that kind of stuff. And there's a big body of water there, and there's trees that I know have been interacted with, and there's a certain amount of the forest around there that can be fairly dense and thick. There's a certain, there is some it's pretty populated in the area, but there are some areas, oh yeah, right over there, there's some ravines that just popped back into my memory here. A really good ravine, actually, that's making me think that if I decide to ever go over there again, maybe I'll check out that ravine. Yeah. So it helps to go through these stories, really, and stuff, too. See, you're probably very close to their home, stalking, not too cool. He was a scout. Yeah, I hear you on that. Have you ever been scared? Yes, I have been scared. I'm scared lots of times. It's just that, it's just one of those things, you're just holding it in. It's not, you can't allow it to be that scared, like when you're laying in bed and you pull the blanket just over your head, and then for some reason you feel secure. There's nothing to do it out there, so you kind of you just don't want to show fear, especially when you're doing it at night in the dark. I don't know about any of you guys that do the night stuff, but I just don't want to show the fear. I want to try to be almost keeping myself puffed up in a way, Yeah, so Bigfoot Forest is saying they like to distract you and direct you away. Exactly, and we were talking about that earlier too, so perfect on you saying, because this is a person that has many, many years of experience talking right there, so there we go. What do we got there? We got, I agree, Bigfoot Forest, cool. Good point, cool. Hey, TM. Hey, Batman, how's it going? Hey, Rob. That's cool, Rob. Bigfoot Forest is saying, yeah, Grace, they are more numerous than we think. Yeah, they are ancient tactics to stay secluded. Yeah, I hear you. See, there we go. And, that was kind of some of the stuff I think before you were even on maybe earlier there, we were talking about that kind of stuff, like numbers and stuff. So, where are we here? So you think they are taking people? I can't. I'm worried that they are taking people, if you're asking me. I'm not going to say that. I wouldn't hate to be wrong with just, until I have something that's given me the full proof, then I don't have the full proof. Like, I have full proof with so much of the stuff that I'm talking to you guys about it, and that's why I'll talk that confident about it. But that in particular thing, I can't say it, right? It concerns me. It concerns me that lady was walking through the park where they figure somehow it's their time, and they are, what do you call that? When you just take advantage of that moment. Help me out. Take it, there's that's, the word we use. Anyways, basically they take advantage of the moment. So in other words, bam, right away, they know these people are getting off the bus. Already they know the history of these people because they've already been studying them walking through. So I'm talking about the lady who goes missing. So they get off of the bus and they had a bit of an argument or something, maybe. Probably one of them said we should have taken this bus, the other one saying this bus. So the husband goes home this way. She goes home this way. I'm assuming they probably are either parkside. It's a big park. So they're either parkside. It's pretty dark around there in a lot of spaces. Or they both go on separate trails through the park because it's a very capable park. To do that, you go around the lake either side. Anyways, so opportunist, you know what I'm saying. So anyways, they are, so here, now all of a sudden they will know. They'll get a feeling of their energy of upsetness, because what are a couple going to do? They're going to go, well, I was going to, and I'm mad, and you kind of vent it out a little bit as you're getting off the bus and stuff. So they do this. So he goes that way, so right away they're already on to something. They're already taking an opportunity of moving in closer. They're already informed whether there is anybody else on the park. They already know this. They already know who's come in from this way of the park. At this time, there was maybe nobody else in the park at all. This husband walked all the way to his house. He got home. He probably went the longer way, maybe. He gets home. She's not there. I believe he started a walk to look for her. Couldn't find her. Phoned the police right away. And, the search started. So, opportunist is the word. And that's what they are. And that's one of the things that really bugs, kind of worries me about sneaking people out. Great minds think alike, that's for sure. Be informed, new species. I'm not getting new species. You're going to scare the dude out of the forest. Yeah, eating people? No, who's saying eating people? Do you think they eat? Oh, okay, there. No, I don't know. I doubt that. I hope not. First Nations say that they eat people? Is that what you were saying? Good, my friends here. The concern. I'm always armed when I go deep into the woods. You never know sometimes. I bring bear pepper spray. I've had some close calls. Yeah, eh? I hear you, Rob. Grace is saying, I agree with the good and the bad. Yeah. Bigfoot Forest. Ojibwe. Guru? Are you saying? Stay out of the woods, kids, or the Baba Yoga will eat you. The stories we tell often have that underlying terror factor. I recall being terrified for a few minutes. Oh, so you would kind of, the old stories lots of times were types to kind of scare you enough to keep you smart, I guess, and not let you go too much into the forest, because the wise people actually did know that there is something out there, eh? About what? But think of our history with them. Hello, Tinman. Hey, big-headed Martian, how's it going? Oh, there's Ojibwa. Oh, I see. Okay. Girl, okay, I get it now. That's who you're talking to. Hello, Ojibwa. What are we looking at here? I just got online. This is my first time at live stream. Cool. Oh, what are you looking at there? Yeah, you're just looking at a road. You want me to turn it around and get it on my pretty face now? There I am. I forgot where we were. I figured you guys probably would rather be staring at me the whole time, eh? Okay, so where am I here? Oops. Do you think they are always watching us? I have a feeling that, yeah, they're scouts, and that's part of what a scout's job is to do, is just keep an eye. Doesn't mean every individual person, but it does. I would imagine it means, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But I've been at places along our Fraser River here where I've known they're making noises way across on the Fraser River here, and I'm at what I believe way over here on the Fraser River is at a habitat. And if I'm projecting, you got so much going on, you can't bring it all together. And now, so I'm projecting the distance, and that, like, further where I'm kind of putting myself where I was there, back there is actually what I call the hand grab clan. I called them the hand grab clan because that's when I learned. I haven't even brought those guys up for a long time. That's when I learned that they did hand grabs to throw you off of their footprint. So they're walking around, they're playing, you could tell there's kids, there's a good little clan there doing whatever their little bit of stuff they're doing and stuff, sitting around feeding and stuff like that. When they're all done and they're cleaning up and stuff, they'd go around, grab. Well, that's what you get to see now, is that actually print. They don't clean up their handprint, and that's how I called them the hand clan. is because they would leave those prints around. It was really interesting to find. I see a juvenile back in the 1970s in Provo Canyon, Utah. You seen one? Oh, did you? Big-headed. Martian is saying that. Wow, eh? A juvenile. Bigfoot's obviously like you. I hope so. I hope it keeps going that way, eh? Yes, we have a few northern tribes, but this also could be the equivalent to the Baby Yoga tale or Banshee stories, yeah? Big-headed saying, good tribes with a tail. I mean the Bigfoot eating people. Ah, Ojibwa. I'm a female. I gotcha. Ojibwa is better known as the white man's name for Chippewa. So, oh, I see. So Chippewa is more the proper name. Is that what you're saying? Better known as the white man's name. And hello back. Nice to meet you. I'm glad you've came by. Here you go. Laugh out loud. What is the take on the little people of the forest, Tinman? Never seen a little person or little people. Not where I can put it into that. I've seen a number of, I can for sure just easily in my head pull 4 together easily that look different. Don't give me a feeling of little people or anything. They just give me a feeling of some kind of an animal of the forest, being of the forest, like that. But somehow connected because 2 of the different looks came together in habitat number 1, 6 days apart. 2 of the looks came together on opposite sides of the road on the same day at my Ram Clan site, and that was the same day. I mean, that was the first day that I met the Ram Clan, so that's kind of where I stand with that. Sub your channel, Venom. AC is saying, how many Bigfoots are around where you're scouting? Lots, hundreds of thousands, I would say. And I do not doubt that it's probably going to go into the millions. I've said before in the millions. I've said before I don't doubt it's going to get into the billions. And I somehow feel that is maybe the case. We're going to find that out. If a theory of them being this connected, where I talk about how much they really do garden with the trees, like they garden with them, they want to interact with the trees and help them. So that being the case, if that's true, if that we really come to that thing and realize, okay, they obviously are more than just knocking them down and these couple of other things with them, they're actually helping them produce. Then we're going to at that point. So that's why I say, go out there and try to bring up I don't know if, I probably have a section of videos where in my section there, selection or whatever, where it says cuttings or something like that, where I'm talking about claw marks and stuff. Try to get into those a little bit, because those ones are where I show a lot of different styles of cuts that these creatures perform. Like mimicking chopping down trees like a human. Mimicking cutting down trees like beavers. And those are just some thoughts to put in with you. But the biggest look that I want you to try to bring into mind is where you're seeing almost curvature even copied in trees. But a curvature similar to this. That might come into your mind a lot when you start doing this. But not only that, the cuts that you're going to see. So say you see a cut like this, and it's taken out a piece of wood like that thick or something, okay? So it's taken out a piece of wood like that, about this thick, okay? And it's about 4 inches long. Well, just go up close to that and see if that's just from here to here cut, and this long they just cut it out. Or look and see if it's coved, if it actually has a shape like that. So it takes a special cut to do a coved cut. Keep that in mind. Nobody's walking around out in the forest with a coved knife, coved like my thumb here. And so this is the flat piece of tree, and they go and they make their cut, and it actually is not just cutting out a slice of it, but the slice has a cove in it. I think you follow me. So that cove, as soon as you start coming into that cove, start yelling it out to me and stuff like that. We'll start to be able to bring together the species through his cuttings minimally. So when you see some fresh beaver trees cut down, I'd love it if you just went and filmed a bunch of that. Filmed the pieces of the wood on the ground where he broke it off. If the tree's pulled away, then that's all right. If you could tell it was a big tree that was pulled away, then look for the other spots, because if the beaver's not going to pull away big stuff, he always has to break it down. So look for the other spots where the wood chips would be, and the beaver will not clean up his wood chips. So even at this main pile, look at the pile of wood chips there. If you're looking and you're thinking, geez, there's only 30 pieces of wood, I could pick them all up there. Nope, there's something missing here. Then that's going to be a clue. The wood chips itself, if you actually pick them up and study them, that's a clue. Beavers look like beavers. It looks like ripped off pieces of wood. That's one thing. The fakers, they get carried away with their claws, and the mimickers, and they can't help it but do nice cutting. They try to always fake us out with doing poor cuts and stuff like that, but they're remarkable artists probably, or some of them will become remarkable artists. I've seen some pieces of wood out there where there's just beautiful value in it just because of them touching it, eh? How many Bigfoots are around where you are? Do you believe the Sasquatch can hide in the trees? Yes, I believe so. I believe I have them on film where I'm sitting there and they're in the trees. I believe that one of the trees that, I came close to, and I believe they were probably just all piling on each other and stuff. When I looked at it slow and I broke it into a couple of pictures and stuff, at one point there, I almost see an image of what, that green guy, what's his name, whatever his name is there, but he does always the patty breakdowns and stuff. One of the light lit up back, where you see Patty's back and you get to see her bum, you get to see the fades of skin and stuff. One of my pictures gets to show that just beautifully, where it's like, because I never get to see the guys really good, because they're all just doing whatever they're doing and blending in and just hiding in amongst this tree is all what they're doing for my eyes, for my understanding. But at one point there, I assume a big one had his back really well to me and stuff like that, why they're doing whatever. Because they'll do that and they'll keep kind of getting into better positions and stuff. And yeah, so I just have a feeling that I got a really good view of his back. And I can never guarantee that stuff, guys. But lots of times when you start to see the hair and the fur and stuff, you get to see certain shots of that where you just know. Like some people might think, oh, hey, Mid-South Sasquatch, how's it going? Some people might think, some of us are saying, no, you can't say that. You can't say 100%. You can't say this and stuff. I can do whatever I want now based on what I believe my education has brought to me. But I do say all the time that just because I'm talking this strong about my stuff, and I know a lot of it is groundbreaking information. It's not like I'm meaning to pound anybody down. I'm saying all this stuff so other people start to catch on to what I'm talking about. And we do this around the world, because that's what will happen. Yeah, whatever with that. Do you believe this? Martian, will you, what do you mean by little people? What's up, Tinman? Not much, just hanging out. Made the 2000 tonight, so it was a party night. Thank you, Bigfoot Memphis. I'll do the same with your channel. Thanks again. AC, no, not hundreds. Really? By Memphis, call me hundreds? If you're talking to me again when I was saying thousands or hundreds of thousands, is that what you're saying? Hundreds of thousands, I think. No problem. Problem, Venom. I see you. Excuse me, guys. I'm gonna have a little bit of drinking stuff. Where am I at here? Oma, Nebraska is where I'm at. Wow. Cool. Mark, call me on my cell. We got a call out on a sighting in Arkansas. Neat. You guys gonna go check it out or something? Do Bigfoot like railroad tracks? Yes, that's a great highway for them. I feel like they might hang out there. They travel them. You know, I think there's probably a certain amount. The males maybe migrate or something. I think a lot of us probably can realize to some degree we believe that they're migrators of some extent. So I believe I've seen them migrate into our community. I believe a lot of them won't be migrating, continuing along. They're going to be staying here. But as, say, a community within their count of how they're going to understand probably, okay, we know there's this many fields, we see how many crops those guys do, we know how many vegetables we can get, we know how many deer we're watching around here and all this kind of stuff. You know, we're going to have to start thinning out this community. You're going to have to move around to the other side of the mountain. You're going to have to move to the next mountain, whatever. I kind of get a feeling on that practicality on it. And this is based on my observation. I got relationships out there, no doubt. Some guy yelled at me, growled at me, as you can hear on that video. Never chose to kill me. That's a relationship. He's obviously probably come across me a number of times. How could that not happen, that he, isn't right here because he's decided to come and, he's knowing I've been over here for, my one clan, because it's not daylight, so I can't promise you, but my one clan that I watch, the one place where it was an unreal experience, where I really felt for the very first time I was coming into a little, what do you call it, like a gorilla, the words popped out of my head, but just like into a little gorilla's nesting spot where they're all hanging out and stuff, and you come into this spot and you can hang out there. Well, it's an unbelievable looking place. I'd say you get pretty close. You can get from that spot a 180-degree view. And I'm in that view, unless the building right here is blocking me a little bit. So, and these guys hide from us. They have fooled us so well. So is he over there able to see me in the dark, in the day? Does he know I was there? Does he care that I'm here? Do they ever think to themselves, oh, there's that guy with the stickers of some crazy looking monster thing on his car? Do they, every time when I go into one of their habitats where I claim that there's a habitat and they're all living there and they really are there, but the point is, when I pull in there, are they just kind of like, there's a car down there, we better go hide, I don't know how kicked back they are. The young ones hang out in the treetops. Yeah, I hear you. I don't think the big guys do, though. This research is all valuable. Thank you very much. All it very is. Everybody's is. Yeah, hundreds of thousands as well. That's for sure. I don't understand how it can't be in the millions. Minimally in the millions in my area. I don't understand. Unless I don't know true, real kind of answers. I swear, I'm 99.9% willing to say that DNA I claim to have in a deer bone, I'll say that strong. It's the failing on the DNA that will only make me realize then it's not DNA. But I have a bone where I've talked about all these how they carve, how they're able to only get certain amount of carving done, and how they're, depending on the strength of the object and stuff, because this bone, it's not like they're willing to break this top edge at this point. So they're just cleaning it out. And they're going like, they have to be, when they have the bone, they're eating the marrow, or they're wiping it off on something. But they got to a point where they cleaned out all that marrow in there. And in 3 different spots have kind of where they tapped out on where they could get that little scratch in there. That little scratch in there. Here, clean it off, sweetheart. That little scratch. 3 different layers down there. And they're all plateaued, different heights in there. But you can see where he all cleaned it out. He never got to the point where he took his bone and went like that and just cleared it all the way down and made it all refined down to one single point. Didn't get to that point yet, if that's what he would have done. Anyways, next thing you know, Tinman, I was hanging out. This is my first habitat. This was a visit back to it, just months back and many months after the discovery. So I was just hanging out, went in there to hang out for a few hours or a couple of hours or something. Anyway, so I'm going through the thick of it a bit, and that back, and that bone appeared in front of me. And like I said, I swear it will have the DNA. Can you see any other logic? This thing is cleaned out like we might clean out trying to get some ice cream in there. So imagine hard ice cream that's not going to melt, something hard like that, and you're just scraping away at it. That's what I have. Anyways, so an awesome fact with this is, it's there. I pick it up off the ground, I look in it. Down at the very bottom, I videotape it and stuff. Maybe not exactly at the moment I did. Yeah, because I had the camera on when I came to it. Anyways, down at the bottom is red. Red of alive blood, still at a certain stage of redness and wetness and stuff. Because they've just been eating it. It just came out of storage. They just broke that piece off of the deer or whatever type thing. They were just cleaning it. Tinman just showed up at the place. They just hadn't gotten to the end. They just decided to give it to me. As I'm walking out, I'm only holding it in my hand like that because I'm unwilling to put it into my pocket and get fabric coming into it and stuff. So I just held it like this on the outside of the bone. And then I just directed myself, decided to leave. Took me, 20 minutes to get to where my car was. And by then, I had looked at it a couple of times and seen the blood actually drying and it becoming more pink. So to me, with my little bit of knowledge in the scientific field that I have, which is, it's just huge knowledge. Anyways, that tells me that the DNA got locked into that blood alive cell stuff going very well. So yeah, beautiful DNA, I get some kind of a bonus where that's just bonus. I will start my process of having that DNA, whether it first sealed, so it's whatever, maybe broken up into a couple of subjects. So I have my subject that nobody gets to touch. And then, test this one and see what's in it. I want to do that kind of a thing where I don't pass it over to the university around here. Oh, yeah, we'll check it out for you, Tinman. Next thing we don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared. And I go, I got another piece that never got contaminated. It was broken up properly. So that's what I'm looking into doing. Tracks and power line cuts are perfect. Yeah, those are perfect, rivers, train tracks, all that kind of stuff. Who wouldn't, you think about these guys, who wouldn't want to just, if you did decide you're going to travel far, we'll do it in boats, jump into this river here, right? Back in the olden days, we would have jumped into canoes to go down to, the town next door and stuff. So imagine these guys just willing to throw some logs and hang out beside the log and float down. I think these guys are going to be pretty ruthless beings. So where are we? I'm going to go down here outside Marion. Venom can't wait to view your collection. I've noticed they follow major rivers, arteries, or creeks. I live along Missouri River, and I see signs down there. Right on. Exactly it. So, and you know, interesting thing is too, like, I haven't been studying. There was a point there where I was really getting into the hydro lines and stuff, because I know they muck around with our the wooden hydro poles. And I noticed they harshly will muck around with our communication lines, like I figure swinging on it sometimes or something, or at least just pulling it down. Taking off some of that insulated wire stuff and just rat's nest it down towards this one end and stuff. Stuff that's not going to really make sense for the wire to go, you know, if a wire did break, for it all to hang. I doubt it's that kind of memoried wire. Like, the reason why that is, it's a spring wired. They're not going to be wasting probably a spring wired on just for a wrapping wire. You follow me? So that little rat nest on communication wires, sometimes when we see that stuff. So they're starting to change the wrapping procedures, I think, in hydro. I think there's a lot of things where our hydro companies are trying to figure out some of these problems and work around them. And they're not cluing into what's really causing their problems. There's a lot of pole splitting where there's... I don't know if these guys are just going in there and sticking stuff in there and actually wedging it. I'm not able to find very many faults in the cracks. But if you go up to hydro poles and just start looking, you might, as you're driving by, you don't even have to go stop, because some of they'll make a crack from the bottom all the way, like 30-foot long crack. Sometimes you'll see one where, I've seen them where there's a whole bunch of cracks on them. And anyway, so I reported on a whole bunch of, I'm talking like I can't even give you guys the actual size of the totem poles. I mean, telephone poles are so huge. And like I claimed there, they were all pre-replaced too soon. The only thing I could see was, I thought maybe those poles were drying out to a comfort that they didn't like or something. So somehow they felt they were just uncomfortable about them. But anyway, so they replaced them all. And I believe that they think it was because it was a fail in their, the pressure treating of the poles. They do a type of pressure treating on the poles. And these ones were grand, huge poles, extra long, extra big. And yeah, it comes down to, let's replace them all. It maybe even was done through somewhat of an insurance process even. That's why it was able to, because there's millions of dollars. There's no ways, they went for miles and miles replacing these poles. Miles and miles. So it confuses me whether it's part of the rate stuff or not. I don't know. I'm in Oregon. What the white man named us, I see. Just wanted to clarify. Yeah, no, that's cool. Lots of Bigfooties here in the Oregon. I'm too chicken to take a picture, yeah? Big-headed is saying, Rob, toy collector, there are little people that roam the forest. I've been seeing them when I was about 7 years old. Oh, really, eh? Big-headed Martian was saying that. Cool area, Clave. Okay, I'm gonna call her a night, guys. So I'm just gonna anybody's got anything you want to say? Let's do a last few things here. I'll just read off those. Everybody have a good night. Thanks for coming out, and congratulations again, Tinman, on the 2000. Thank you very much, Venom. I'm going to be hitting the hay now. Right on. You do that. Thank you again. Yeah, good conversation. Right on. I'm glad you liked it. Great information. They know you and everything about you. I hope so. Good things. All my good things. Your scent will be always left for them.
and your frequency is unique, one of a kind. Thank you very much. That's the Crip Zoo. I didn't even see you in here, the Crip Zoo. Rob is saying, good night, Ian. Bigfoot Forest is saying, love ya, Crypto. Yeah, you see Crypto was in here too. Kiss, good night. Thank you very much, everybody. Peace out. He's one of those Chris. They think he's one of them Chris. I'm not sure what a Chris is. Peace out, everybody.